Quick shout out to my Patreons who keep this channel going. You can join my Patreon down in the description below. What's guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're interacting to the 8th episode of Cells of Work Code Black. This one's titled Calves, Pulmonary Embolism, and Quick Thinking. So yes, I'm excited for this one because this is actually something I'm semi-knowledgeable about, like to the base understanding of knowing what they're talking about here. Except for the quick thinking bit, I'm kind of curious to see what that response is going to be. But yeah, last time we talked about caffeine and ROS, which is reactive oxygen species, a highly reactive thing to do with oxygen and how that has a negative impact on the body overall. But we also have a bit of a rift between the two red blood cells, which is kind of odd to think about, but they managed to get through it through the episode, which is very nice. And we learned about caffeine's effects on nosebleeds, and what's the other thing that comes with caffeine? Arginine, that was it. Arginine. Arginine, whatever, how you want to say it. And how that's raising the blood pressure and stuff, but it does eventually just crash out, and right as they have a nosebleed, he crashes and runs out of strength, but somehow manages to get through it, and ultimately beat the addiction of the caffeine, which unfortunately not all the red blood cells are going to be able to say the same, because I think this body is still drinking a lot of caffeine into the system, which is understandable. I think caffeine is one of those things where we're like, we know it's not explicitly good for our system, but we don't know how bad it could end up being if we start to consume too much. But it's like everything in this world, like too much of something is going to be bad. It doesn't matter how healthy something is, even water. If you have too much water, your cells can burst. So you don't want to have too much water. Like anything that's deemed healthy by society, if you eat too much of and not enough of the non-healthy things, you can have complications as well. Like if you were to only eat fruit, the lack of meat would probably have an adverse effect on you if you're not getting certain vitamins and stuff that come from it. Like, balancing your diet is the main key, right? Not just eat healthy foods. Balance the diet so you have a mix of healthy and unhealthy. Not too much of the unhealthy, but enough to include certain things that might be from them, and just to treat yourself and keep your own mental state happy. Because bad food it tastes good, and that boosts your mood, as much as we don't really want to admit it. As much as McDonald's gets shit on, I know US McDonald's is worse than what we have over in the UK. Our UK McDonald's is relatively better to that, especially like portion sizes and stuff we add to our food. But we know it's bad for us, but it's just nice to have something like that. Your trashy food that you just treat yourself with. Like I have my pizza place right over the road from me, which is that they've taken a lot of my money over lockdown since they have very good COVID policies. Anyway. This week's episode, Carl's pulmonary embolism and stuff, I do know about. So, talking of pulmonary embolism, since they mentioned calves, I'm going to assume they're going to be talking about DVT, deep vein thrombosis. A blood clot in your leg can occur, especially like you've had like DVT socks that you can wear on like a plane journey so that you can avoid the clotting as you're sat still in a plane for hours and hours upon end. It's honestly something I've been thinking about. Not because of my plane travel, because I don't plane travel at all, but because I sit at my desk basically most of the day. I do get up and down to get a new drink, to refill my drink. That's why I don't fill my drink up to like the max of the glass. I always put it like halfway. That way I'm constantly having to get up more to go get the drink. Also go to the toilet, get food, do anything else in the day. It's like, I try to keep myself active, because if you sit in a chair for hours upon end, watching anime or YouTube or doing whatever you are, playing a game, you can get DVT from inactivity in your legs, and that in itself is bad and has its own complications. But I think what they're going to focus on here, since they mentioned pulmonary embolism as well, that blood clot can become dislodged and travel through your body and come up to your lungs, and that's what causes your pulmonary embolism, and that gets really, really complicated from that point. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to be talking about. I don't know where quick thinking comes into it. Maybe the body's response to it. I don't know how the body would necessarily break down a clot like that, if it physically can on its own. A lot of the things that we've been focusing on in this series has been requiring outside intervention. Like, a lot of this is not something that our body can necessarily deal with on its own. Like gonorrhea, we had to have help. The hair loss and stuff, we had to have help. in the kidney stone one, did we have to? No, I think the kidney stone one. Yeah, we had antibiotics as well. So again, we had help. And we're taking a lot of antibiotics, so that might become a problem later. I wonder if they'll touch on the ineffectivity of antibiotics after a certain amount of time and constantly using them for every minor problem we have. I wonder if they're going to touch on that at all, because that is genuinely a real concern. Our drugs might stop working once we discover viruses and bacteria and stuff that just don't care for it anymore, and we are going to be powerless to stop them unless we invent some other form of medical drug that can help, or we figure out another way of taking care of ourselves, because that is a genuine worry. There used to be TV adverts on it. There might still be TV adverts, but I think about 5 years ago, when I was actually watching more TV, there were adverts on stuff like that, and how you have to seek your doctor's advice on when you should be using it. Don't just always assume you should take it, because it's going to become a problem as it becomes less and less effective. So, anyway, pulmonary embolism. Yeah, very serious, so I guess we'll see what actually ends up happening. I don't think this is a two-parter. It might be a two-parter. I don't know if it is. Number 3 and number 4 were multi-parters because they came out at the same time. I don't think any of the others are multi-parters, except maybe the finale. Who knows? We'll see. We're going to be watching the next episode, episode 9, straight after this anyway, so we'll see. Anyway, as per usual, these are time-based format reactions here on YouTube. If you want to see full picture-in-picture, you can go to my Patreon down in the description below. £4 a month gets access to all picture-in-picture reactions I do on the channel, which is everything from this season and future seasons, some backdated shows, Patreon request shows, etc. Movie reactions as well, with Wolf Children coming up next week on Tuesday, hopefully. But here on YouTube, we have to do time-based, so bottom left of the screen, you'll see a time for the episode. I count down 3, 2, 1, play. They'll play start the episode, I start the episode, and we'll be in sync. We're watching this one on Funimation since that's who licensed it this season, although this is also available on Crunchyroll if you want to watch that version. It might be different to sync up because we have the Aniplex logo, then the Funimation logo to start with this one. So about 12 seconds of logos. You can use screen flash on my face on the mic to sync up, as well as this little bit right here. Just look at this. It's very reflective, so you'll be able to tell when seeing transitioning. I have no idea what it's like on the Crunchyroll end. I assume they have Aniplex logo and then that's it, but I haven't looked at the Crunchyroll version yet. So we're just watching on Funimation since this is where it originally aired, and it has all 13 episodes ready, so that we can catch up in this week, next week, and the week after. We should be done. Maybe. Anyway, with all that said, let's get into this week's episode, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. Aniplex. Funimation. Cheers. Here we go. White blood cell. White blood cells. Lack of sleep. That's why we get DVT. Yep. We clotting. OP time. Alright, here we go. Oxygen delivery. recurring Cell characters. Mm-hmm. uh, yeah. Okay. Tough love. I didn't think this Cell would get as much time as she ended up did, but all for it. Nice. More monoxide. Frequent occurrence. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Heart rate's quite a fast, isn't it, in the background there? Mm-hmm. Red blood cell numbers are down. Mm. Oh boy. Liver's not doing so hot. Mm. Yep. Mm. Oh boy. This place is. Oof. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. This body is in such a state. No. Not enough red blood cells because they keep disappearing into the clot. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Oh, God. Go get stuck in a clot or something. Mm-hmm. Stay out for his friends. Because he does his job. Sure you were. God, these two. I can't wait for them to get caught in an instant. I really can't. Blood pressure's dropped though. Mm. Yep, weak Lawton. Mm-hmm. DDT. That's why you gotta keep active. Yeah, of course they would. Hmm. They are the worst. Mm-hmm. I hope they get a comeuppance by the end of the series. I really do. Nice. Yep. Mm-hmm. Multiple plots. Mm-hmm. The cloth is moving. Well, they're finally starting to move, and that's going to cause it to shift. Here he goes. Yeah, here he goes. The cloth is moving. Wow. Quite the representation. It's Indiana Jones this shit. Mm-hmm. Such as maybe the lungs. How does the body naturally break up a clot like that, I wonder? Because platelets obviously are a part of making the clots. But can they break it down, or do we have a cell that specializes in that? I don't know. Mm-hmm. No. Holy shit. Well, I don't know if that's possible. Mm-hmm. It stopped, just not where you wanted it to. Jesus. How? Hmm. That's what you get. They got their comeuppance, at least. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Can we do anything? Not against our own cells. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So it's a backup, essentially. Okay. I mean, it's our job to do so. We don't really have a choice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, narrow as hell. Jesus. But it's better than none. Ah, good. Mm-hmm. Just dissolved on its own. Thank God for that. And that was the quick thinking aspects. To go through the bronchial arteries. Okay. Back to work. Huh. Yes. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their job. Hmm. What's wrong? Huh? Huh? White blood cells gone? I just love how cheerful the ED is when we end on things like that. What's causing an absence of white blood cells, though? Because if they were being attacked, then surely there would be. She would know what's up going on. There was an imminent attack, but I guess white blood cell production is completely gone now. She didn't even see her two friends about, so kind of curious where we're going with this one. Alright. What are we dealing with this time? Calamity? What the hell are these things? Athlete's foot. Oh. Meaning of work. Okay. Okay. Athlete's foot, huh? I have no knowledge of athlete's foot. I know it's a thing. I know it's something that's... Has anyone... No, I don't know anyone personally who's had athlete's foot. I've heard of athlete's foot. I think more recently, the most I remember is I've been rewatching Red Dwarf. Like, everyone remember the 80s, 90s British space sitcom, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, because Lister has athlete's foot, and I just watched the body swap episode, where Rimmer said to he'll look after him, he'll get Lister's body back in shape, just for 1 week of being able to have a human body again. Spoilers: Rimmer is a hologram in that show. But yeah, I don't know what athlete's foot actually is. I don't know what it does, like how it starts, what effects it has, what knock-on effects. But I didn't think it would be... It sounds a lot more serious than I thought it ever was. I thought athlete's foot was just like one of those things that's like, you got athlete's foot, okay, just gotta treat it and lessen the impact of it. I didn't realize it might have such a calamitous effect on the body. Unless they're doing two things at once, and athlete's foot is just another symptom of whatever they're talking about. I don't know. I'm very, very curious about how that's going to be portrayed, because I know nothing of it, so it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, that was a good episode. They didn't really break down... They didn't really break down why the clot would dissolve naturally. Like, what is just the actual dissolving of red blood cells will occur, regardless of what happens. And they don't really give a time frame of how long that is, but that 1% trickle of oxygen was enough to keep the lungs alive, essentially, so that once the clot did break down, they could get through. I assume depending on the size of the clot and things like that, it can determine how negatively that could go, but very, very interesting episode nonetheless. So that's going to do it for you guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Was much as I did. Leave a like if you did, as well as your comments what you thought of the episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe as well to see next week's episode, as well as the rest of the Winter 2021 live you can find on the channel. Thank you for watching. Till next time. See you guys later.